There's a tab and backing track available for this lesson. You can get those by clicking the card or the link in the description at our Patreon site. These are also available for individual purchase or for Tier 2 and 3 supporters. All right, let's look at this lesson. I'm going to go over a few ideas that I had about working with a band, and in particular, I guess, working with a bass player. One of the thoughts or concepts that I had is working within the confines of your band. So if you're working with charts, then you need to adhere to that. The second idea that I had is also knowing your band members. Another thing is the audience that you have. So if you're playing like for other musicians, then you might have more freedom to experiment and be a little more outside with your chord progressions and things. Most of the time, the simpler you keep it, and that's not saying that they can't appreciate what you're doing, but if you're playing for like at a church service, or if you're doing a studio job, things like that, then you just have to kind of be more structured in what you're doing, and keep it simple. A lot of times is actually the best thing that you can do. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take a basic 4-chord progression, and we're out of the key of C, and the most common chords in C would be C, F, and G. Now the minor that goes with C is your A minor. That's your relative minor, your 6th minor if you're doing the number system. So we're going to go 1, which is C, 6 minor, which would be an A minor or an A minor 7th. We're going to go to a 4 chord, which in this case is F, and then we're going to go to the 5, and then that would be the G chord. Now on the 5 chord, I always say you have the option to go to the 7th. So you could play a G 7th, which I believe is what the backing track has. Now the very first thing I'm going to show you is we're going to take, instead of going just from C to A minor, then F, then G, back to C. Okay, so the first idea that we have here is that we can walk that C note down 1 fret down to a B. Okay, so what we're doing here is we would work with the bass player. He would also do that. He would walk that note down also. Now this particular one you could do probably in any instance and it would work fine. What we're playing then on the very first example was 4, 5, 6 at 8th fret. That's C. Now to get that next note that we're walking down, you simply add your 2nd string. Okay, and then that's going to bring us to the A minor, which would be 4, 5, and 6, A pedal. Also, musically, it's more interesting. Then the next chords, I just simply hit the F here with 5, 6, and 8 with A and B pedals down. Then the G 7th, I hit that same group with B pedal, E, D flat, and E lever only. So the first concept here then is we're still doing the C chord, but we're just adding that 2nd string for the walk down. Okay, so this is a lick or a thought that you can use from going from the 1 to the 6 minor. Now the next one I did, I made it a little more complicated. So instead of hitting just that 2nd string, we're actually going to add another chord. We're going to go from C. We're actually going to go to an E minor. So instead of just hitting that 2nd string by itself as a single note out of C, we're going to add another chord here. So we're going to go C, we're going to go C, E minor, then to the A minor. So again, if you're playing with a group or a band, they need to play that with you to make it effective, to make it work as a musical group. Okay, so that one's real easy too. We're still here at the 8th fret. Play 5, 6, and 8 for your C. Now to get that E minor, all I do is engage the E, D flat, and E lever, play the same group, 5, 6, 8. So that gets us from C to E minor. Next chord in progression is A minor. I hit 6, 8, 10 with A pedal. Okay, so instead of going, I'm hitting a whole chord now. Okay, so now we've got okay, now we're going to go from the A minor to the F chord. I do this. Now what we're doing there, really you're hitting another E minor. We're playing 6, 8, 10 for the A minor. Then I simply release the A pedal, hit that same group with the E flat and E lever. Then I'm going to C with the same group, 5, 6, 8, A and B pedals. So now we have okay, so we went, instead of going C, A minor, F, I went C, E minor 7, or E minor, then A minor, then 5, 6, 8, no pedals, E, D flat, and E lever. That's going to walk us to the F chord. Then F is 5, 6, 8, A and B pedals. Okay? You hear more dynamics in the playing and in the chord structure. So again, real quick, 5, 6, and 8 is the C, no pedals, no knee levers. 5, 6, and 8 with the E flat and E lever, that's going to give us an E minor. Then we're going to the A minor, just like before, but now we're just playing 5, 6, 8, A pedal. Now to go to the F, we release the A pedal, hit 5, 6, and 8 with the E, D flat and E lever. Then 5, 6, and 8 with A and B pedals is F. Okay, so now I'm going to show you another musical idea, and this works. This is more like a country type thing. We're going to come one below that G. We're going to hit an F sharp or a G flat and then go to the G. So we ended here with 5, 6, and 8 at our 8th fret with A and B pedals down. That's F. We play that same group at the 9th fret, pedals still down. That's F sharp, but that's going to move quickly. That's just one beat, and it's going to go right to the G. So there again, if you're doing that and the band's not, it'll work fine. But musically, if you're working with a group, you'd want to cue them in on that, and especially the bass player. The bass player and the drums are pretty much, to me, that's the foundation of your group. So you want that bass player hitting those notes with you. So it works out musically. It's also fuller too. Okay, so that one is probably the most complicated one I show you here, one of the most movements. So we have a C. Now to go down to A minor, we're using an E minor, then A minor. Now the A minor to the F, we're doing this. And then from the F to the G, we're doing this. So we have all those movements. You can do one of them, two of them, all three of them. It's just up to you. So now the next one I did is another real country type, but we're walking the G down to G7. And we're simply walking that G note backwards this time. A while ago we went. Now we're going down the scale with it. So I started here at the 8th fret, 5, 6, and 8, no pedals, no knee levers. That's the C chord. To get the A minor, I simply press my A pedal here. That gives me A minor. I'll take that same group to the 1st fret, 5, 6, and 8. That's our F chord. And then I'm going to do the walk down, which you would do with the bass. You go to your 3rd fret, this is out of G now. I picked 6, 8, 6/8 with the E, D flat and E lever, 6/9. Then it resolves back to the 1, back to C. Okay, now the last one I did, I'm going to show you some substitutions or some ideas that you can work with your band for the G chord. And on that one, we're doing a D minor to an E minor out of the G. So we have 2 beats of the G7, 1 beat of D minor, 1 beat of E minor, then it resolves to the 1, to C. Okay, so we ended here at our 3rd fret. We picked 5, 6, and 8, A and B pedals down, that's the C chord. Goes to the 6, the A minor, you pick 6, 7, 10, A and B pedals down. You go to your 1st fret, 5, 6, and 8, that gives us an F chord, no pedals, no knee levers. Now the part here over the G that we're adding with the group, with the bass player, would be at our G fret, 3rd fret, 6, 9, 8 for 2 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we hit 9, 8, 6, that's a G7. Then you go to your 1st fret, 5, 6, 8, A pedal, that's D minor. Play it at your 3rd fret, that's E minor, and then you hit 4, 5, 6 here at the 3rd with A and B down, that's your C. Alright, so the last one was this. Okay, just to recap or highlight what I'm talking about, you're playing with a group, so you play within the confines of what y'all rehearsed. Some things that you play that to add musical interest to the group or to the song are really acceptable, like the first one I showed you. Adding that 2nd string from the 1 chord of the 6, that'll always work. But if you cue the bass player in on that and he can play that with you, it just builds the whole group as a whole. The second one I showed you was simply using chord substitutions. You're going from a C to an E minor, then to A minor. Then from the A minor to F, you're going A minor. And I simply played it. It's really just another E minor chord. Okay, and then from going to the F to the G chord, from the 4 to the 5, you can just simply do a 1 fret behind the G. So it's an F sharp or G flat. The next one I did was simply using a walk down out of the 5 chord. And then the very last one I did out of the 5 chord, you can take the last 2 beats of the measure. There's 4 beats in this because we're in 4/4 time. You have 2 beats of the 7th, G7, 1 beat of D minor, 1 beat of E minor, then it resolves to the 1. All right, so we'll give these a try. Like I said, that's from easy to a little bit more complicated to complicated. But again, you want to work with the group you're in. If you're playing with guys that are not receptive to this, doing anything off the norm, then that's the way it is. You've got to work with that. But if they are, then there's a few chord substitutions. There's a few little musical ideas that make your playing more interesting, help your group. Also, you want to be mindful of your audience. You don't want to, like I said, most of the time, 99 times out of 100, the simpler you keep it, the better it is. But it's just a few thoughts that you might work with and see what you think. So give it a try. If you enjoyed the video, press the like and subscribe button. You can also support the channel by hitting the join button below. We'd also like to thank our supporters on YouTube and Patreon, especially our Tier 3 supporters, Jim M. Medlock, William, Philip, Webster, Arthur, Jim, and Paul. So thanks again and keep picking.